So today I'm off to Stuttgart, going to meet a colleague who's got a great story to tell about a really big customer of ours. Massive, just
My name is Alex Claassen. I work for Avaya for 2 years on the Bosch account now as a service executive for the managed service contract with Bosch, which is an asset on book, which means that we own the assets, we build a service around it, and which we selling to Bosch. So they're paying per user, per port, per service entity per month. We had a very moving history. When I joined the account like 2 years ago, I was brought in with a purpose to come and fix something. The dashboards were green. When you really looked underneath, it was not as green as it looked like. It looked horrible. It looked more red. That's when at that time I thought of writing a book called 50 Shades of Green. Still have to write that book. A lot of ideas, I have them. But it's kind of when you really looked underneath all those fantastic nice dashboards on which people were being measured, it looked horrible. We had an unstable service. We had SLAs that were not being met. We had unhappy people. We had a customer that was at the point of walking away. Equals we were in a cap escalation. The difference is kind of the moment, like 2 years ago, we decided to do things totally different. Rebuild the team, put more stability in the network. So we put a very severe change management process in place. Because with big networks like this, we're speaking about a network with 164,000 UC and a few thousand CC, and then some other services. We have like fax services in place. You need stability. Why do you need stability? Because it's a network, you make a lot of changes into that network. Changes means instability by definition, but you need to make changes because you need to kind of adapt the service, you need to get new customers in, you need to kind of put new software in, you need to put new patches in. That means change and instability, it's kind of, they're conflicting with each other. So you need to make sure that you put those changes into the network in a very industrial way, really managed. You test things in a lab. Then you write a procedure around it, how you tested it. Then that procedure goes to the engineers who are implementing it into the real life network, and you execute against it and you communicate to the customer about it. And that was also one thing we did not do well, communication with the customer. In fact, very black and white, we were communicating to the customer, not with the customer. Subtle difference, but really important. So then we rebuilt the team, people got clear responsibilities. In the past there was no clear responsibilities, people did not know from each other what they did. So we did very simple things. Create an org chart, who is doing what. Irrespective of the people not working for each other, but you have a functional org chart. Is who is doing what into the account. And also some things we did, we had 5 SharePoints and 4 share drives. If somebody wanted to have some information about the account, it was somewhere or on somebody's PC. They had to look for information. So we did condense it into one SharePoint, and we started to use functionality to the SharePoint, workforce engine, workflow engine, not a workforce, a workflow engine. So we're using this simple workflow engine to do our change management. So routing information to who it should be, instead of managing everything per spreadsheet. Because a spreadsheet, again, it turns around into the organization. That person has a different version than that person, and bad communication. So we have one central repository, one team with people who are doing things, very clear processes and procedures, and we aligned our processes and procedures to the customer. Guess what? Stability. And people know what they're doing. It's day and night difference than 2 years ago. 2 years ago, they didn't want to talk to each other, to us anymore. There was no trust. There was no relation. Now there's a very good relation, and the relation is as such that kind of we're not one way contractually. We are a service provider to them. Day-to-day working, we're an extension of their company. So we deliver services to Bosch. Together with the IT department, we look at our customers. And that is a subtle difference, but a difference that makes a change versus 2 years ago. So for me, team is very wide because it's team is the real Avaya employees, which is the whole sales organization. It's the client business managers. But team is also like the service delivery managers and the engineers who are doing the work, which are DXC, which is HPE, old HPE. But it's also our third parties we work with. We deliver part of the service. And I even go with them that far is kind of when we develop new service, I ask them, I even demand from them that they keep me up to date how their services are developing, how their products are developing, because then we can further develop the service with the customer. They're an extension of our company, of what we are doing. So in fact, together with the Avaya colleagues, with the DXC colleagues who deliver a big part of the service, with all the third parties, we deliver a service to our joint customer. And there again, we are an extension of their company. So it's a very simple model in words, but to make it work, it's not that simple because people need to be willing. People need to understand the model. People need to see that the model works. If you can show them that it works, then it's a simple model and it works for everybody and everybody benefits, especially the end customers at Bosch. Now that we have a stable platform, we can start to think about what's next. Because no stable platform, no stable service, no contract extension. We did a contract extension for 5 years in September. Is kind of we start to think about, okay, what's next? We are going to look into their contact centers. What can we do? Bosch is really one of the biggest players on IoT in their area of business. How can we help them to be more successful? How can we link certain things? So I'm really happy about Avaya having those focus areas now. And then I kind of see, okay, how can we help with those specific focus areas to pull in, as part of our big extended Avaya team supporting Bosch, to pull in some experts from those different teams and kind of say, okay, who do we need to approach? And now that we have a good relation again with the customer, we can kind of build on that relation and kind of through the executives who are our sponsors for the new contract in Bosch, to kind of to approach new areas of business which we did not have before.